Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 18, which is entitled as Sannyasa Yoga. Sloka 13. Pañcaitāni mahā-bāho, kāraṇāni nibodha me, sāṅkhye kṛtānte proktāni, siddhaye sarva-karmaṇām. After hearing so much on the topic that I am not the doer, Arjuna had a serious doubt. Krishna, it is me who's actually the doer. As you can see, I am the one standing, I am the one holding the bow and arrow, I am the one who's going to fight, I am the one who's going to defeat the enemies, I am the one who's going to win the battle. When I am hungry, I eat. When I am thirsty, I drink. When I am tired, I sleep. It's all me, I, Krishna, who performs the action. But you are telling me to think I am not the doer. Isn't it you're asking me to imagine something out of the reality? Is it not considered to be delusion? You always said delusion is not sattva guna. It falls under the lower gunas. Then why do you tell me to think I am not the doer, which seemed to be contradictory to what you taught me earlier, as it appears to me a delusion to think that I am not the doer? In response, Krishna said, well, if you have to think that you are not the doer, then it may appear that you are in delusion. But don't think that you are the doer. Rather, accept the fact that you are not the doer. You are not the doer at all. You are not karta. Arjuna was further taken back with great surprise from the response that he got from Krishna. Then he asked, Krishna, if I am not the doer, who is the doer? Krishna said, there are 5 of them. There are 5 factors involved to perform any actions. Arjuna jumped up and said, are you talking about us, Pañcaitāni? Krishna smilingly said, no, not you brothers. But in that 5, you are also included. You are one among those 5. In that, 3 of them are under your control. Before Krishna could complete, Arjuna jumped and said, well, that's nice. So, I am the master of these 3. Then I can do anything and everything. Arjuna again smilingly said, well, you can have control of these 3, but your control is also limited upon them. Then Arjuna said, well, still I am the controller. I can do the max whatever I can with these 3. And Krishna said, let me finish it, Arjuna. I said 3 are under your control, but there is one above you who controls you. Therefore, my dear friend, you are not independent. Unless all these 4 comes together, you, who's one among those 5, cannot perform an action. Now Arjuna becomes very curious to know who are the other 4 whom I never knew. Maybe they are somewhere in Duryodhana's side. Now let's see what Krishna has to say. This sloka doesn't list out those 5 factors. It comes in the following slokas. But this is an introductory sloka to the following slokas. But before we get into the sloka, we should have a clear grasp of knowledge that it is Krishna who is the principal doer. He gets done all the work through me. An intelligent person does not look upon himself as the doer. Our kartritvam, doership, is based on our capacity, and that capacity in performing the action is also under Krishna's control. Once one is clear in mind that one is not the doer, then it will become clear that one is not related to the act, and the result of the action are also not connected with oneself in any manner. It is the Supreme Lord, through me, who am subservient of Him, given me all the faculties, the body, senses, etc., commences the action as is sport, Leela. Therefore, any actions that we do belongs to Him only. Likewise, the result as well. This idea, this principle has to be clearly grasped. With that understanding, let's learn the meaning of the sloka. Mahā-bāho, O mighty armed one, sarva-karmaṇām, of all action, siddhaye, in the performance. Siddhaye means perfection. Also, it is said, even for one to perform an action, to start an action, certain things are needed. Without those factors, one cannot perform any actions, those 5 factors. Sāṅkhye kṛtānte, in the Vedic doctrine relating to self, proktāni, mentioned pañcaitāni kāraṇāni, these factors may, from me, nibodha, learn. Translation: O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedānta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. Before we understand this sloka in detail, we have to be clear that this sloka is not talking about Sāṅkhye philosophy, because Krishna has used the term Sāṅkhye. How are we certain that this is not referring to Sāṅkhye Matam? Because Sāṅkhya philosophy, they do not accept Ishvara, the absolute truth, the Supreme Lord. Secondly, in their philosophy, they don't accept that doership, that is karta, is different from the tools, the instrument that being used to perform an action. Karanam. For them both karta and karanam are one and same. Whereas Krishna is going to mention clearly that Ishvara is one of the 5 factors. Also, Krishna will make it clear that karta is different from karanam, the doership and the tools used to perform the activities are 2 different entities by themselves. So, Krishna is going to say that which is absolutely contrary to Sāṅkhya philosophy, but at the same time which is Vedic doctrine. Because the Sāṅkhyas do not accept Ishvara, do not consider the difference between karta and karanam, they are one and the same, and we don't even have to go that far to prove that this is not about Sāṅkhya philosophy, because here in the sloka Krishna clearly says that this is explained in the Vedas. This is Vedic doctrine that to perform any action there are 5 factors involved. Therefore there is no question whether this is talking about Sāṅkhya philosophy. It is not at all. If it is said that Sāṅkhya accepts authority of Vedas, then the Vedas should be cited as the pramana, as it being the original authority. But that is not going to be the case with Sāṅkhya philosophy. Therefore, there is no need to consider that this sloka talks about Sāṅkhya system. It is not. Then the question is, what does Sāṅkhya means? Sāṅkhya means buddhi, right intelligence. Kṛtāntam, anta means determination. Kṛtānte means siddhantam, the conclusion. That is the conclusion of knowledge, which is free of any doubts, confusion, delusion. It's so very clear and firm. What is being said here is that the part of Vedas elaborating the realities that are analyzed in detail with fair-minded intellect, it emerges that all actions have these 5 underlying causes. It is clearly understood from the Vedas and from the great saints who have learned the Vedas thoroughly that for any actions there are 5 underlying causes, 5 factors. In the next 2 slokas, sloka 14 and 15, Krishna will explain these 5 factors. pañcaitāni mahā-bāho kāraṇāni nibodha me sāṅkhye kṛtānte proktāni siddhaye sarva-karmaṇām. Namaste. Hare Krishna.